It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
Stroud is set again. Oh, John, boom. Swings it out to Sadiq Bey. Gets Benny in the try.
To Abdul-Rahman at midcourt. Extra pass. And it goes for the win. The three-pointer by Jordan Poole. Here's the give. Walker! Kenny Walker! Touchdown! Spotty!
Goff's got it. Back, looks, throws, ends up.
Yes!
Caught! Touchdown, Detroit Lions! They did it! Amon-Ra St. Brown in the receiving end!
Sends one to deep left center field. Back it goes, and that ball's out of here! A grand slam from Miguel Cabrera. He's got 2 goals. Larkin in on goal. Scores! His first career hat trick in his 7th season for Dylan Larkin.
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. It's a Wednesday. It's hump day. Hopefully, it's dry today in Metro Detroit. I don't know. I'm sure it rained all over the state of Michigan because it rained and rained and rained yesterday. But that's good. Anthony will be here shortly. I'm hoping. The Vegas Golden Knights locked up the Stanley Cup last night in almost sad fashion, would you say? Just, you kind of wanted it to be competitive, and then, like, at least not as bad as it got.
Yeah, it was reminiscent, not the rivalry-wise, but when was it the Wings knocked out the Avalanche?
Right.
Knocked out Patrick Waugh out of the game. They scored like 7 goals. That's what it was like. Where it's like, hey, at least I can go to bed.
That was a terrible game last night.
Yeah,
it was
just
terrible.
Really wasn't a hockey game.
No, I mean, it was so deflating for Florida. Not to have Kachuk was bad to begin with. I mean, you kind of knew the writing was on the wall when he wasn't going to be out there. You're not going to win a game when you're down 3-1 in a series and you got to go on the road and you don't have your stud. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to work. And, unfortunately, it was a less than riveting series. I saw some people complaining about the fact that the Nuggets and Heat was such a quick series. I'm like, Vegas dominated that. It was, Florida was lucky to even win a game. That was a very pitiful performance from the Florida Panthers in the finals. They just kind of ran out of gas. I do find it interesting, though, that Florida and Miami, however many miles away from each other that they are, had such parallel seasons. They both come in, get into the playoffs as 8 seeds. They both make a somewhat of a magical run to the finals, and they both get absolutely dismantled once they finally got to the last round. Like, I found that was very, very interesting between the two. Dan, how was your night last night?
It'd be better if Major League Baseball cared about the people that broadcast their games every day. I knew at noon yesterday they weren't going to be able to play. I could have told you that. It's pretty simple. If you've ever lived in Michigan for an entire year, you knew yesterday as soon as it started raining, it wasn't going to stop. It was just one of those days because it was predicted to rain for 20 minutes yesterday in the morning, and it didn't stop for 12 hours. Whatever. It was ridiculous. They used thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of diamond dry just so that it could rain again and look exactly the same 20 minutes later.
Yeah, that's the rain delay, the postponement, this delay in calls. Like they can see the radar. The weatherman might have been wrong. The weatherman typically is wrong. I mean, you're trying to predict the weather, so let's at least give them a little credit where you're trying to predict something that's completely unpredictable for the most part. Mother Nature, a cell could just pop out of nowhere, and it could be unexplained. And it's Mother Nature. It just kind of is what it is. But you're right. Like, hey, we can see this isn't going anywhere. Let's save everybody a whole lot of time and a whole lot of money, and let's just play a doubleheader tomorrow. Like, is it that hard? Is it that hard? We're not talking about a team that's contending for a World Series. We're talking about games that are on the schedule that have to be played.
And the Braves are going right home after this. This is a 3-game road trip for them. They have no problem. They could have been, they could have been at their hotel at 7:00 last night watching the hockey game. Instead, we sat around till 9:15.
Terrible. I thought maybe they were going to try to squeeze it in. Later.
Oh, there were rumors of a 4-hour delay.
That's ridiculous.
Until the that second wave came, because they were going to wait out that second wave, and then it poured the second time, and they really didn't have a choice. It would have taken until 11 o'clock to get the field ready.
Getting the field ready is always something that I find is very, very interesting. Golfers play in the rain. Then they got to,
Yeah, but they're not running and potentially sliding into walls and stuff and breaking ankles.
Football players play in the rain. They're just running full speed into each other. I just find it interesting to prepare the field. Like, dude, just go out there. What's the difference? Throw a little dirt on if there's a little puddle that's appeared, throw a little dirt on it and keep it moving. Can you see the baselines? Like, let's go. It's one of the more overrated things, I think, in sports. It's the amount of dirt that they throw down on the field to try to get it, quote unquote, ready. Like, just go out there and play. Good God. You're paid enough. It's the difference. People that aren't paid anything that play in a lot worse conditions than that. Like, but that's just me. That's just one of the gripes I have always had with the game of baseball. It's one of the gripes I will always have with the game of baseball. Coming up on today's program, talk a little bit more about the Tigers. Jason Beck is going to join us. Monty Williams was introduced yesterday. We got some sound from his introductory press conference, so we're excited to play that for you. If you missed any of it, we'll be able to, you'll be able to get some of the sights and sounds from Monty's introductory press conference and some details on why he ended up taking that job to begin with. Obviously, the Stanley Cup Finals, game number 5. Playoffs are officially over. Sad time. Welcome to documentary season. This is it. So buckle up and get ready because we've got some time to kill now. About a month. That's scary. It's absolutely terrifying. Does anybody else find that terrifying?
No, it's a month where we can all practice and put in our tapes to become the next Pat Sajak.
If that's what we're looking for, that's what we'll try to do. We've got the drafts coming up, which are a little bit exciting. Even though our teams can't ever seem to move up. I had somebody ask me yesterday, like, I do have a question though, a question for all of you, and maybe we'll get into this next. When you were watching Florida and Vegas, I'm a little numb. Do you remember what it was like to be in the playoffs? Because that 2018 Pistons team, that doesn't even count. We knew that they weren't going to win a game in that series, much less win the series. Like that was, that was different. But do you remember what it felt like to be in the playoffs? Talk about that next year, X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Bill Simonson here for my good friends at Bean Garter. They're now a Dorn Mayhew firm. They're based in Troy, where Dorn Mayhew is located on the east side of the state. Bean Garter will stay in their existing location in downtown Grand Rapids, and Josh Garvey has been named the managing shareholder. Josh was appointed by Dorn Mayhew's board of directors, and Josh will lead the West Michigan office in downtown Grand Rapids in its vision, growth, culture, strategy, and client relationships. And Josh is very honored to lead the Grand Rapids office forward as the next managing shareholder. Bean Garter has had the privilege of serving the West Michigan market for nearly 75 years. And Josh's vision is to uphold that commitment and keep their firm focused on creating meaningful impact relationships in their local community. Congratulations to Josh Garvey, as Bean Garter and Dorn Mayhew are now stronger together.
Hey, this is Matt Shepard from the Michigan Sports Network. I love summers in Michigan because it means golf season. Now, two things always when I go golfing. I make sure I got my sticks, and I've got plenty of cold, fresh Labatt Blue Light. Whether I've just squeezed in 18 holes or I just want to relax on the patio after a long day, everywhere I go, and I'm serious when I tell you this, I tell people about the smooth, genuine taste of Labatt Blue Light. It's just a great beer. Michigan Sports Network is giving you a chance to win a foursome to Michigan's best courses. Just listen weekdays to The Huge Show and X's and Bros, or just text GOLF to 21,000 to enter. That's GOLF to 21,000. The trip includes 2 overnight stays and 2 rounds of golf, all brought to you by my friends at Labatt Blue Light. So grab a Labatt Blue Light the next time you head out onto the course and enjoy the blue skies, because blue is for Michigan summers and great times. Always enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2023 Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York. All rights reserved. Labatt is a registered U.S. trademark of Labatt Brewing Company, Ltd.
You're listening to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network. Can't call in? Text us using the keyword sports radio and send it to 21000 or tweet us at XB Mornings. Now back to Danny Cahalan, Ryan Elke, and Anthony Bellino.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network. Danny Cahalan, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all joining you. Thank you for joining us. As a reminder, feel free to share any of your thoughts, concerns, comments, anything you have for us. You can text the keyword sports radio and send that to 21,000, or give us a dial on the Myers Supercenter guest line 248-951-2176. Now that the rain has passed, we've got golf league tonight. Hopefully the course will be in good shape this evening. It'll be lush and green. And now the golf season is here. Now is a great time to call my friend Matt Golden and his team up at Tullymore Golf Resort in Canadian Lakes, offering not one but two championship courses, Tullymore and St. Ives, located about an hour north of Grand Rapids, 30 minutes west of Mount Pleasant, smack dab in the middle of the state, easy to get to no matter where you are at. My little friend Rory can't wait to get to Tullymore. He was talking about Tullymore yesterday. Visit TullymoreGolf.com, TullymoreGolf.com, or call 1-800-972-4837. That's 1-800-972-4837. Book your stay and play at Tullymore today. They just don't make them like they used to. God bless him. I mean, Rory's one of the good ones. He is pretty fresh out of college. He was my point guard at St. Mary's grade school and then at St. Mary Catholic Central, so I had him for 5 consecutive seasons. And just a good kid, hard worker. He shows up, does whatever you ask. It's tough to find people like that. So when you find a good one, you hold on to them. All right, question for you. Legitimate question here. As I was watching the Florida Panthers get clobbered last night to the Vegas Golden Knights, to the point where it's like, well, I can just turn this off. Do you remember what it feels like to be in the playoffs? I was sitting there, I was thinking about that. And the last time, and I don't count the Blake Griffin mummified knee because we knew that there's no point in even being in the playoffs at that point. But when's the last time we've played a meaningful game? It's been years. We have 4 franchises here. 4. We haven't had a legitimate playoff game in basketball since the mid-2000s. 13 plus years, right? Because it's 2023 now, so maybe 16 years in basketball. Majority of like young people's lives. You know, the kid that's just able to drink right now, they don't know any success. None. The Red Wings, they kept that streak alive for as long as they could. I'm glad that they did. I know some people wanted to blow it up and rebuild earlier. Like, just because you say you're rebuilding, it automatically makes you go into some sort of category that says this is going to work. Like, it might not. It might not work. We've seen that now happen, not just once.
Yeah, but a restore might work.
Once, but twice with the Tigers. We are rebuilding on top of a rebuild. They may never be good again. Have you ever thought about that? We assume that there's another Verlander, Scherzer, era that's just gonna happen. What if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't happen? Has anybody thought about that? What that might look like? There is no guarantee that any of this is going to work. There's nothing that you could say that can convince me that we are not going to be in the doldrums of the league. Well, it works out. It turns around for everybody. Does it? Does it really? Does it turn around for the Pittsburgh Pirates? When does that happen?
Well, the Pirates are playing much better. At least they were early on.
Well, yeah, you should play better. You win 50 games a year. Is it ever going to turn around for the Oakland A's?
Well, that's incompetence and negligence, really.
It's no guarantee, though. Zero guarantee. Will it ever turn around for the Ottawa Senators? Think about it. Like, you just assume if you play long enough, everybody's going to have a swing at it. But my goodness. The Lions, they are this town's only hope. That's it. It's really that's really what we have. But that's the question I was asking myself is like, man, can you imagine being a Florida Panthers fan right now? Like an actual Florida Panthers fan? Like, can you imagine being a Florida sports fan? You're all in, you're Panthers, Marlins, Inter. I got to bring them up. Dolphins, Heat, like you are 100%, you're not an import just living in a high rise in Brickell. Like you are born into it. You love Miami. You probably live just on the outside of the actual city. And you watch both of your teams get eliminated in 5 games in series where at least the Heat looked like they might have had a chance. Maybe kind of, sort of. Florida never felt that way. And then once we learned of Tkachuk not being in the game, and I have to apologize because I said, hey, no matter what, you got to get out there. I said that yesterday, right? Guy had a fractured sternum. He wasn't playing. He wasn't playing. A fractured sternum. That was like the hit that took him out of the game. Like, that's why. Broke his sternum. Think about that one time. But I think about what it's like to have your team playing in meaningful games in the second season and how long it has been. And it's sad.
Yeah, would you be like a go out and celebrate type of guy if you were in the playoffs? Because I mean, we've never been able to experience that, like,
Oh, like the bar scene?
Yeah.
No, I didn't do much of that in 08. I'd rather that's kind of where I developed I'd rather be in my own home for something like that.
Like the only thing that we've been out like partying recently for teams that were in the playoffs were Michigan in the college football playoff and Michigan State. Like I remember being at Old Shillelagh watching, no offense, Michigan State get blown out in that college football playoff game. But those are like the only 2 things in the last 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, we did have the Tigers made a run in 14 into the playoffs, and it's like, well,
that's 9 years ago, Anthony.
Well, you said in the last 10, didn't you?
I know. I'm just saying.
I know. I have that thing where I can't remember, how far away things actually were when they took place. But yeah, I mean, Red Wings in 08 was I'm going to sit. I'm going to sit in my. I'm going to sit in peace. I'm going to watch this in my own home. Something of that magnitude and that importance. When it was Michigan, obviously and even last year I was supposed to until I caught the plague and was down for the count and couldn't move and lost 10 pounds. But there you have commitments, working commitments. So it's a little bit that was a little bit different. Going to Hard Rock and basically you get on the bus and you head on over to the stadium and you're just clocking in until the game starts. And then once the game starts, then you can sit back and enjoy. But I had being able to sit with some of my coworkers there and relax. Like that was fun. Being there at the game was fun, at least for the first quarter. But yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a very, very long time. We'll step aside. We'll talk some Tigers baseball with Jason Beck, MLB.com. Next here, X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Hey, Meyer.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd.
Let's root for the home team. This week, shop Meyer for 30% off Tigers apparel. Exclusions apply.
Let me root
Meyer, your proud hometown partner of the Detroit Tigers. Now that's a winning team.
Oh, it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
The Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police wants you to know that June is Gun Violence Awareness Month. Why do we need to recognize gun violence? Because we can stop it before it happens. Many people contemplating an act of gun violence display significant or sudden changes in their behavior. If you know what to look for, you can be the difference. Search 10 critical warning signs of violence or contact your local police department to learn more.
From planting a simple seed to managing a global food supply, growing, processing, and distributing food is the backbone of America. You deal with food safety and labor issues, cost control, and not to mention Mother Nature. But do you have time to explore research development and biotechnical tax credits? Properly administer payroll for temporary employees. Ensure that you're operating at your most profitable? That's where we come in. We're Bean Garter. And while your business is America's food supply, our business is helping you run your business better. We'll assist with tax credits, assess your processes and controls, and so much more. And while we may not be able to help you plant your crops, we can help you realize a rich financial harvest. From the family farm to worldwide distribution of all the things you grow, grow your business better. Experience service, expertise, and simplicity at Bean Garter. Find us online, beangarter.com. Bean Garter.
From Traverse City to the Glass City, GR to the Motor City, you're listening to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
One of my favorite beats, but one of the dumbest songs I've ever heard. But one of my favorite beats, Gucci Mane, Le Monde. Step into a world of nonstop DraftKings casino action. Play the classics like blackjack, roulette, and slots, plus enjoy exclusive games you can't find anywhere else. Right now, new customers who deposit at least $5 can get a match on their first deposit and score up to $2,000 in casino bonus funds. All you have to do, select the offer of your choice and start playing from a full suite of games. Just download the DraftKings Casino app right now. Sign up using the promo code HUGE, promo code HUGE, and get a match on your first deposit of $5 or more, up to $2,000 in casino bonus funds. Only at DraftKings Casino. Only using the promo code HUGE. Now, if you or somebody you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline, 800-270-7117, 21 plus, Michigan only, one per opted-in customer, minimum $5 deposit, max match $2,000 deposit, and bonus amount required 15 times playthrough within 30 days. See terms at casino.draftkings.com/players choice. Restrictions do apply. So our good buddy Jason Beck, I was able to catch up with him before the first game of this Braves-Tigers series and discuss a myriad of different topics surrounding this team. And here is our conversation. Good buddy Jason Beck covering the Detroit Tigers. Jason, my friend, long time no talk. How are you? How's life? How are things, partner?
Just plugging along. Another day, another fresh start, I guess.
Oh, that's what they say. Every day, baseball's an everyday sport, right? So you don't want to get too high on the highs. You definitely don't want to get too low on the lows. But 3 consecutive series sweeps leading into the series against the Atlanta Braves. We were talking about it, I don't even know how many days ago it was, going into the White Sox series in which they got swept. We were like, hey, it was Friday morning. We were all hyped up on the show. And, hey, if they sweep the White Sox, this team's going to be over 500. We'll talk about this Monday morning. We're all geeked up and ready to go, right? Things are looking good. And then the White Sox series happened, and things have progressively gotten worse. What seems to be the issue? What is our major malfunction here, Mr. Beck?
Honestly, they're missing Riley Green. I mean, let's be honest. I think that injury was devastating for these guys. They were able to overcome it for one day, but then when you look at the impact on that lineup, it becomes a little more right-handed. And really, until Kerry Carpenter came back from the injured list, you really didn't have a major impact bat that you could rely on in the middle of the order. And so, teams have been able to stack right-handed starters against these guys and lean on the right-handed portions of their bullpen and, take their chances with the few left-handed hitters. Now, they changed a little bit with Carpenter's return, but I think it's still a little bit out of balance. It's not just Riley Green's hitting that they miss. It's his defense in center, and it's also his energy. He has a presence in the clubhouse and in the dugout and enthusiasm that's hard to duplicate among these guys. He's got a personality there. And, I think when you watch this team plug along, it doesn't seem to have that same energy level.
Jason, when we think about the Riley Green injury, in alluding to its larger impact, why is it in the game of baseball, which is probably the most individual team sport that there is on the planet, like you have to be able to do your job, right? If you're on the defensive side, you have to be able to field, right? You can't be committing errors. You have to be able to, get the putouts when necessary. But on the offensive side, it's all about your individual ability, to be able to win that head-to-head matchup against that pitcher that day, right? And against that staff that day, if you will. Why is it that when you take that bat out of the lineup, it's seemingly more difficult for everybody else?
I think, he's arguably the best hitter in that lineup when he's going right. Certainly for me, he was by far the best hitter in that lineup. I think him reaching base and being in good positions had impact for the rest of the lineup after him, which is why he was batting second or third most games. I think he made Javi Baez a better hitter because it gave Baez more chances to drive in runs. But also, too, I think that, when you're a center fielder at Comerica Park, that's a huge role because it's a very big ballpark. It's a ballpark with huge gaps, and it's a park where you have to be a very good athlete and cover a ton of ground to be able to play center. Now, Jake Marisnik has done a fine job defensively, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't have that same presence. He just kind of parachuted in here, having just been acquired, last week, or I guess a week and a half ago now. So I think it would be like if the Tigers of 10, 11 years ago lost Austin Jackson, or if the Tigers of 15 years ago lost Curtis Granderson for a stretch. There's something about that position, and especially when you have a upper tier level hitter like Riley Green, I think there's a double effect there.
What do you think, Jason? What is the right way to maybe qualify what we have here for hitters like Spencer Torkelson? And what I mean by this is when we're talking about Riley Green and how successful he has been, he's had 642 plate appearances, 579 at-bats, and he's batting .268. Then we look at Spencer Torkelson, the consensus 1-1. He's got 668 plate appearances, 591 at-bats, and is hitting .212. What do you think, or what's the proper amount of at-bats needed for a young guy to come in to say, hey, you know what, we might have thought or wished or hoped he was going to be this type of player, but now we've seen enough to say that, hey, he's more or less going to be that kind of player? Is there a specific number out there that you look at?
Some people say 1,000 at-bats or 1,000 plate appearances or whatever. Other people will say a little bit less than that. I think with Torg, he would tend towards the larger end because, there's kind of a dichotomy there. The traditional stats are, they're not what you would have expected to be from, a guy who hits for his type of power and his type of overall damage in college. But on the flip side, if you go to some of the metrics like exit velocity, like expected slugging, expected batting average, you see signs that would make the case to you that there's a better hitter there, and you have to give him time to figure things out. The contact rate has gotten better. He seems to not be beaten as much on velocity, although he has slumped here recently. But I wouldn't write him off just yet. But I think you have to temper your expectations at this point as far as, like, can he be a game-changing player? I think he has some work to do there. I think right now what you want to see is him making some steady progress to where he can become a more consistent run producer for you, drive in the runners you have on there, even if it's not for the home run power you might have expected. Maybe he's more of a doubles and double-digit home run hitter rather than like a 30 to 40 home run hitter guy.
Jason, is he in the right spot in this order? And what I mean by that is, he's been kind of like near the top for most of his young career here at the major league level. And it's like, man, if he was entering maybe a different situation, like let's say he was brought up with, I don't know, I want to say the Dodgers just because they got that monster payroll, but the Diamondbacks have a lead on the Dodgers and a lead on the Padres, and they pay like, $100 million less in payroll this season. So it's baseball, one of the quirks there. But maybe if there was a little bit more of an established lineup around him, do you think that would maybe ease some of our expectations? Or because this team has struggled and we know there's not that many quality bats in the lineup, he's been forced to move near the top of it, which he's seeing more action, and maybe that's not the best spot for him?
I think there's a case to be made for that it would have been easier. And you saw that when he first started his career, like, he was generally batting more like 6th, 7th, 8th. But what's happened since then is that Jonathan Scope is not produced. He's more of a part-time player now. You haven't seen some other guys produce the way you would want, and so you've kind of been, that combined with, they did not have a big off season. Now they've kind of ended up in a position where Torque has to be that hitter in the middle of the order and has to be that guy to kind of carry a bigger load in the lineup than ideally you would want him to.
Jason Beck joining us right now, covering the Detroit Tigers, MLB.com. You can find him on Twitter at BeckJason. I got to ask this, one of our listeners, because I like to open up. I say, if you got anything for one of our guests, feel free to shoot us a text, let us know. I'm going to try to take this question and phrase it maybe a different way, because the injuries have piled up, right? Some things are fluky, and then other things it's like, man, how come every pitcher we have is injured? Like, what is there more to this than what maybe should be believed or expected? I'm trying to read the tea leaves here, and does this organization have an issue from a coaching standpoint or from a strength and conditioning standpoint, where like every single guy that we have at some point is going to get injured?
Well, I think this year's pitching injuries are a little bit different than last year from the standpoint that you've seen a few more freakish injuries this time around. Like, I didn't even know about the pulley in the finger near the tip until Eduardo Rodriguez had that injury, a couple weeks ago. You had Faedo with the fingernail, which seems to be progressing, but it's not going to be fully grown back until more like end of the season. He's going to have to learn to pitch without a full fingernail, which sounds completely gross. You had Matt Manning, fracture a bone in his foot on a comebacker. Those aren't training type of injuries. Those are more, I think, kind of, honestly, like I said, just kind of freakish injuries that you don't want to chalk up completely with bad luck, but I think there's a degree of that to where, it's different than last year when Skubal had the flexor tendon surgery and, Mize had Tommy John. Turnbull with the neck injury, that's kind of similarly freakish. You're hoping you get him back, but again, it's another non-arm injury. So it's been weird from that aspect this year compared to last.
I was just, I keep looking at it. It's like pitching injury. You're right. Some of this stuff is just fluky. Like it just, what's the old saying? I'd rather be lucky than good. Something like that. And it's like, man, we just have not had any luck. And this team just doesn't seem like they are strong enough to be able to overcome. Like they don't have the lineup to be able to overcome some of these injuries, especially when you start stacking them. You're taking out a guy like Eduardo Rodriguez, who really has been the ace of the staff this year. You take out your best hitter and one of your best defensive players in Riley Green. You've already talked about him and the pop that he brings not only to the lineup from a statistical standpoint, but also kind of that juice in the dugout as well. And it's like, man, this team is just not built to, they're just not good enough to overcome that. So who would you point to, should I say, Jason Beck? Is there light at the end of the tunnel? Is there somebody coming up the pipeline that you have been excited to see that may get an opportunity? Is there anybody down there at AAA that we can call in for some help? Where are the reserves at, Jason?
Well, I think your first wave of reinforcement should be coming here in the next few weeks from the injured list. You've got Tarek Skubal progressing back from the flexor tendon surgery. You can kind of see now on the horizon where you can hopefully get him back here, in a few weeks. Hopefully once he gets stretched out. Matt Manning just started a rehab assignment. You should be able to get him back. Ideally, you should expect both those guys back by the All-Star break, if not sooner. You can get a Bo Brisky back in that bullpen, ideally, to give you some depth there, and another guy who can cover multiple innings and, get you some outs with some electric stuff. I think that's your first wave. And then after that, ideally, if you can get Justin Henry Malloy out of the slump he's been in. I hesitate to call this slump because it's still a learning process for him. You have to remember that, last year was his first full pro season, and he managed to get all the way to AAA within that. So, he said it, when I talked to him at the end of April, early May, that he's still learning his swing. He's still working on approach. He's still kind of going through that process. Ideally, you would like, if he can turn the corner, maybe you see him later on in the year, back on the pitching front. You get Eduardo Rodriguez ideally back. He's throwing now some. He's not quite on a pitching progression or rehab assignment, but it looks like it's not as severe an injury as you might have initially feared. So ideally, you can get him back maybe in July, although then, you get to the trade deadline and you wonder if he's going to stick around. Alex Faedo progressing back. And then, later in the year, then you start looking at the prospects like Malloy, like maybe Colt Keith if he catches fire, although I tend to suspect that you might see him get more of a full season in the minor leagues, considering he hasn't really had a chance to do that between the short minor league season in 2021 and having the injury last year. But I think that's kind of the stages you're looking at in terms of getting reinforcements.
He is Jason Beck. You can read his work, MLB.com. Following the Detroit Tigers. You can find him on Twitter at BeckJason. Jason, my friend, as always, partner, appreciate your time. Thank you for taking the time to join us today, my man. We greatly appreciate it.
Anytime. Always good talking baseball with you.
Always great to be able to catch up with Jason. It's been a while since we've had him on the show, and it's been a while, so it was great to hear his voice. And they were able to pick up a win on Monday night with Torkelson's heroics, and last night being postponed. So eventually they will get some reinforcements. They'll get some help from guys that were originally scheduled to be on this roster. Just to, will it be too late? Can this team squeeze out enough juice to be able to keep them in contention, if we even want that? I mean, I've heard more people talking about this franchise being sellers at the deadlines than I have about actually, if you're in striking distance, go for it. And I don't understand it, but that's, I guess, two schools of thought. And when you when you've been stuck in mediocrity for so long, you just assume, sell everything that you have that has some value. And I get it. You want to, if somebody's going to walk, you want to be able to get something from them. I totally understand that, right? It's like going back to Golden Tate or somebody like that. You got to get something in return before you just let them walk for free. But me personally, if you're close enough, go for it. Go for it. And if you don't get the 17th ranked prospect from the Brewers, some dude playing high wooden bat league in Maine for the crab hands, then so be it. But go for it. Try to win. Play to win. Learn to win. And stop assuming that every time you make a trade for some prospect that's going to work out, because odds are it's not. So let's just go for it. Stay close enough in the hunt, even after the treachery that we've seen over the last 12 to 15 days, however long it's been. You're still only 5.5 games back of the Twins. If you're right there, if you still remain 5.5 games back by the trade deadline, let's go for it. Hour 2's next. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Hey, this is Matt Shepard from the Michigan Sports Network. I love summers in Michigan because it means golf season. Now, two things always when I go golfing. I make sure I got my sticks, and I've got plenty of cold, fresh Labatt Blue Light. Whether I've just squeezed in 18 holes or I just want to relax on the patio after a long day, everywhere I go, and I'm serious when I tell you this, I tell people about the smooth, genuine taste of Labatt Blue Light. It's just a great beer. Michigan Sports Network is giving you a chance to win a foursome to Michigan's best courses. Just listen weekdays to The Huge Show and X's and Bros, or just text GOLF to 21,000 to enter. That's GOLF to 21,000. The trip includes 2 overnight stays and 2 rounds of golf, all brought to you by my friends at Labatt Blue Light. So grab a Labatt Blue Light the next time you head out onto the course and enjoy the blue skies, because blue is for Michigan summers and great times. Always enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2023 Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York. All rights reserved. Labatt is a registered U.S. trademark of Labatt Brewing Company, Ltd.
Meijer's Super Sale is here. Friday and Saturday only. Find super low prices on items like Meijer Family Pack chicken wings for $1.49 per pound and 99 cents per pound green seedless grapes. Plus, buy one, get one free Hormel Black Label or Natural Choice bacon. Don't miss limited time prices during the Meijer Super Sale. Friday and Saturday only while supplies last. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in the Meijer app.
Perfectly primed steaks, handcrafted cocktails, warm hospitality. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, coming soon to Soaring Eagle Casino Resort. This isn't just any dining experience. It's an unparalleled steakhouse experience where USDA prime beef is cooked to perfection and your last bite is as good as your first. All with a sign of Ruth's legendary hospitality. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, coming soon to Soaring Eagle Casino Resort. Your getaway reimagined.
If you or your family is touched by autism, learn more about Freddy's Foundation at #PopTheTap at FreddyThePizzaman.com. That's FREDI, thepizzaman.com, or email FreddyThePizzaman@gmail.com.
Huge here for all the Mr. Car Wash locations across Michigan. You're going to want to look into that unlimited monthly pass that I use. Superfly Hayes, my producer, uses it. I can get my SUV washed as often as I like for one low price. You can sign up today. Just go to MrCarWash.com or stop by your local Mr. Car Wash location here in Michigan for the one close to you. And to get that unlimited pass, go to MrCarWash.com.
Good morning, everyone.
It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's a good morning. Wake up to a brand new day.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. Welcome back here. Hour number 2 on this Wednesday. It's Hump Day, the 14th day of June 2023. Great to have you right along with us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio and worldwide on the iHeartRadio app. We say good morning to you. We welcome you. We thank you. We appreciate you. And, of course, we encourage you. Join the program at any time. Text the keyword Sports Radio. Send that to 21,000 Sports Radio to 21000. Our Myers Supercenter guest line 248-951-2176. 248-951-2176. We're on Twitter at XP Mornings, Facebook, X's and Bros, and of course, good morning to our television audience as well on BCSN and streaming live on our YouTube page at Michigan Sports Network. Add a .com to that to find our website. xpmornings@gmail.com is the fan feedback email inbox, and you can find us all individually on Twitter. Danny Cahalan is at Dan in the Studio. Ryan Elke is at RyanL_Key, and I'm Anthony Bellino at AC Bellino. All right, what's going on in the sports world? We'll try to get you all caught up with all the happenings. We'll do so right now in the headlines.
Big news.
I have a little news flash.
Let's check the headlines.
Nah, it's real news for once.
The biggest stories of the local, regional, and national news.
This is huge news.
All right, huge news. The Tigers and Braves Game 2 postponed last night. They will play a doubleheader today. First pitch scheduled for 1:10 this afternoon after a 2+ hour wait. 1:10 and 4:40. And then Detroit will be back in action as they'll hit the road for the first of 4 against the divisional leaders, the Minnesota Twins. A really random setup of games there. 7:10, 8:10, and then 2:10 starts this weekend against the Twins. But yeah, Braves today, 1:10, 4:40. Lorenzen expected to start Game 1. No expected starter in Game 2 that I've seen be announced. So who knows if this will be like Game 2 will be like a staff day and they'll just try to eke one out. But you can still win the series. Like, you win the first game, you feel pretty good. Get back on track a little bit after that treacherous, week and a half. Monty Williams was introduced as the head coach of the Detroit Pistons yesterday. More on that, more from the presser a little bit later on in hour number 3 of the program today. Congratulations, I guess, to the Vegas Golden Knights. Jonathan Marchessault won the Conn Smythe as the playoff MVP, and 6 seasons later, the expansion franchise has done it. Marchessault being one of the 6, quote, original misfits is what they called themselves. 9-3 was your final score in the Game 5 clinching Stanley Cup victory. 9-3. Ugh. Tough performance there for the Florida Panthers, who, by the way, were without their stud, Matthew Tkachuk, because he fractured his sternum in Game 3. Yesterday, I was like, you got to get out there and play. Now with a fractured sternum, that's ridiculous. Like, that's how much this hurts. Then you think about a guy like Jack Eichel, right, and everything he's been through and, being able to get to Las Vegas. Oh, after so much with the Buffalo Sabres and all the arguments and everything that took place there, he gets there. He gets a Stanley Cup. I guess good for Jack Eichel. Rick Pitino threw out a first pitch at the Yankees-Mets game, and he threw the pitch out to Donovan Mitchell, the Cleveland Cavaliers, who played for Rick Pitino at Louisville. I guess that kind of makes sense. What makes more sense is that Donovan's father, also named Donovan, works for the Mets as the Senior Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Nevada Senate has passed a $380 million bill to fund the new A Stadium in Las Vegas. How about that? There you go. More government funds for the billionaire owners. Build your own stadiums. Some 27,759 A's fans joined at the Oakland Coliseum for a reverse boycott We'll get into that coming up next year on the program. Running back Dalvin Cook said that he is in no rush to sign. Says that he wants to be valued. Thought that maybe the Miami Dolphins were going to be the landing spot for him, and I think that most people did. Apparently, whatever took place there against the Miami Dolphins, in his meeting, maybe that deal wasn't as lucrative as he thought. Now, he did rush for 1,100 yards last season, the fourth consecutive year he rushed for more than 1,000, earned his fourth consecutive Pro Bowl selection, and got released. It's pretty interesting. Who should take a flyer on Dalvin Cook? It's not really even a flyer on him. I did see something else yesterday on Twitter that if Ezekiel Elliott retired, is he in the Hall of Fame? This is why I'm so stingy on the Hall of Fame. If Ezekiel Elliott retired, he would be in the Hall of had a really good season, got paid, and got fat. That's what he'd be in the season. That's the Hall that he'd be in. Got paid and got lazy. Plain and simple. Like, I don't know why Ezekiel Elliott and Hall of Fame are even in the same sentence, but not on my watch. That's why I should have votes for all this, except for baseball. I'll let the Baseball Writers Association, the guardians of the game, decide that. But hockey, basketball, NFL, and a Heisman vote, I want it all. Put me on the docket. Nobody's getting in. You got to be like Patrick Mahomes is getting in. Aaron Donald's getting in. We're talking about players of the year, Super Bowls. Those guys are getting in. Guys like Ezekiel Elliott that have never accomplished anything? No. Get out of here. Odell Beckham Jr. makes his Ravens debut at minicamp. A reminder, yes, minicamp is opening for a lot of teams right now. In fact, 21 teams will open up this week. 9 teams, including the Detroit Lions, started last week. So there's a little variance there in schedule. Darius Slay, big play Slay, said the reunion with Matt Patricia was cordial after their fallout in Detroit. Told the Free Press on Monday that he and Patricia have been cordial now that they are working for the same organization. Really? It's another day at the office, Slay told the reporters at Calvin Johnson's charity golf tournament. We got the same goal, just going out there to compete and win a championship. So that's the main focus. Very, very interesting. Be very peculiar how that works out. I can't believe the Eagles brought him in. I can't believe how you'd look at his body of work and say, that's a guy we got to add to our franchise. Here comes some real value. Out of your mind. Najee Harris is advocating for running backs disputes the longevity narrative. Dalvin Cook and Ezekiel Elliott were released from lucrative deals by their teams this offseason. The Giants running back Saquon Barkley was franchise tagged. Oh, I know, it's so terrible. Right? Play a season with an average of the top 5 salaries at your position. I know it's terrible. To see people like that get released, especially in my position, it's like, damn, what did they do? Is it because of their age? You know what I mean? Dalvin Cook is coming off multiple 1,000-yard seasons. I don't know. Is it the money from the team? They got to pay somebody. I don't know, but it's eye-opening for sure. Well, it's not a position you're going to spend a lot at. I mean, if you're franchise tagged, you're going to be right around $10 million this season. God forbid we be grateful for anything. There's a lot of jobs, Najee Harris, at 25 years old, that are going to pay you less than $10 million for 17 weeks. I don't know. You're not getting a whole lot of sympathy from me. That's not going to happen. But yeah, that's where I stand there. And the NBA Finals ratings were down from 2022, but playoff viewership was up. So figure this out. ABC, ESPN, and TNT averaged 5.47 million viewers per game during the playoffs, the most watched playoffs in 5 years, the networks announced. As for the finals, ABC brought in an average of 11.64 million viewers, a decrease from 2022 when the 6-game series between the Warriors and the Celtics averaged about 12.5. The 23 finals concluded with the Nuggets beating the Heat, obviously, in 5 games on Monday night. That game 5 averaged 13 million viewers. The problem is they fell off a little bit, and it's always going to be one of the biggest things that I can't believe TV executives can't figure out. Stop scheduling stuff on Friday night. People want to go out and do stuff. We'll step aside. We'll be back with more X's and Bros after this here on the Michigan Sports Network.
From planting a simple seed to managing a global food supply, growing, processing, and distributing food is the backbone of America. You deal with food safety and labor issues, cost control, and not to mention Mother Nature. But do you have time to explore research development and biotechnical tax credits? Properly administer payroll for temporary employees. Ensure that you're operating at your most profitable? That's where we come in. We're Bean Garter. And while your business is America's food supply, our business is helping you run your business better. We'll assist with tax credits, assess your processes and controls, and so much more. And while we may not be able to help you plant your crops, we can help you realize a rich financial harvest. From the family farm to worldwide distribution of all the things you grow, grow your business better. Experience service, expertise, and simplicity at Bean Garter. Find us online, beangarter.com. Bean Garter.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Bill Simonson here for Roast Umber Coffee. It's a farm direct coffee sourced from Central American farmers and roasted in Grand Rapids. And their Nitro Cold Brew Coffee is a convenient and healthy option with no sugar or additives. So if you want a great coffee or energy drink to power you through your morning and your day, it's available in ground or whole bean or in cans. More information on the website and direct delivery to your door at roastumber.com.
Share your thoughts all morning long on the Meyer Guest Line. Call 248-951-2176. That's 248-951-2176. Now, back to Danny, Ryan, and AB.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network. Danny Cahalan, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all joining you. Thank you for joining us. No matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio, and wherever you may be on the iHeartRadio app, free to download. You can search 96.1 The Game, West Michigan's home for sports. You can search for Fox Sports 1230, Toledo Sports Leader. And we look forward to being this, you taking us right in your pocket. Take us with us. Take us with you wherever you may go. All right, it is hour 2 of segment 2, which means it's time for little Detroit Lions trivia. This is a tough one. All right. The NFL champion Detroit Lions intercepted a club record how many passes? A mark that stands today en route to a 10-2 record in 1953. How many team interceptions did the Detroit Lions have? I got a lot of questions about the passing game prior to 1970.
I'm going to say 3 a game, 12 games. I'm going to say 36.
I'll go a touch higher than Dan. I'll go 41.
The correct answer is 38.
Oh.
Danny Cahalan with some quick math there. 3 a game, 12 games, 36. That's pretty impressive. Why'd you come up with that?
Well, you just made it seem like it was going to be astronomical, and I mean to even average like 1.5 a game would be very impressive.
Can you imagine doing that in today's day and age?
You would dominate games if you averaged 3 interceptions.
Well, if you play Jameis Winston twice a year, that's a guaranteed 8.
You know, he's ready to be a starter in the league.
He is a star. He's a bottom 10 starter.
Bottom 10 starter.
It's like,
there's really not that many people that are good at that job.
Right. It's like Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold. It's like if there's an opening, it's like, yeah, you're our starting quarterback.
If there's an opening. We got anybody? Anybody can come in here and get this done? All right, let's get into what's taking place out in Las Vegas as the incredible fan base out there celebrating their 6 years of hockey purgatory and hoisting the Stanley Cup. People are like, oh, I'm sure the party's great. Like, party's always, it's Las Vegas. It's an afterthought. But they do a very good job of drawing fans. So I'll give them credit for that. They do a very good job in their game day presentation. And the city's a little bit of buzz about it. So that's good. And if you're Gary Bettman, you got to be tickled pink or salmon, like the shirt I'm wearing. Tickled salmon that your expansion franchise was able to win a cup and really be able to establish themselves as a legitimate contender in this league, help grow a fan base there in Las Vegas that obviously has a lot more than just hockey going on. And it's a win for the NHL and for that market. So for that, I can kind of sort of understand. However, it's not just the hockey side of things that folks are going to be excited about, because the Nevada Senate passed that $380 million bill yesterday to help fund a new stadium for the Athletics in Las Vegas. The first step towards this expected move of the franchise from Oakland. I don't really understand how, days of questioning from lawmakers about the intelligence here of using public tax dollars to support a team owned by a billionaire. 2 amendments to the bill added Tuesday morning prompted a 13-8 vote in favor of the project. While multiple steps still remain to be able to finalize the A's move, the passage of Senate Bill 1 in a special session called by their governor, Joe Lombardo, a proponent of Vegas adding baseball to the Golden Knights of the NHL and the Raiders of the NFL, paves the way for this to happen. If the 42-person Nevada Assembly approves it by a majority vote, Lombardo signs the bill into law. MLB owners plan to authorize the A's to relocate and end the team's half-century plus long tenure in Oakland. I don't get it. I don't get how you have a guy that owns $1 billion, is a billionaire, that is going to somehow get $380 million out of the public. I also don't understand, in a country with a debt crisis that continues to shoot fireworks into the sky, I don't understand that either. But we got a whole bunch of people that, I'm sure, I don't know, I was listening to, God, who was it? Who was listing all of the individuals, like the percentage of individuals that have filed for bankruptcy and those that are carrying credit card debt that currently, sit in our government in those seats. You got a bunch of people that don't know diddly squat about finance. So, of course, it would make sense that they'd waste a bunch of money by blowing stuff off into the sky to celebrate independence. Like, it's an absolute waste of money. Absolute waste of money. You'll never be able to convince me otherwise. There's a million other things we could be doing, and yet we're going to waste it doing that. But that's neither here nor there. I don't understand how billionaires get public money to build stadiums. That, to me, will never make sense. I will forever be an opponent of that. And I don't care, it's going to generate. Okay, it is going to generate. It's going to generate money for the government in terms of payroll taxes and sales taxes and property taxes and all these different things. And it's going to generate revenue for the owners, because if sports teams didn't generate revenue, there wouldn't be any, with your advertisements and your sales of concessions and merchandise and your tickets and your suites and all that stuff. So why is it that the public always has to pay? We got to not only pay for the stadium, we got to pay to get in. We got to overpay for, sugar water, soda, pop as they like to call it. We got to overpay for some god-awful looking hot dog with cotton candy on it and who knows what else. You got to over for Dippin' Dots, overpay for merchandise. Like, why do we agree to this? Why do we agree to this? This is ridiculous. Now, A's fans held a so-called reverse boycott in which they showed up to the Oakland Coliseum wearing shirts that said sell and encouraged Fisher to unload the team rather than move the A's. He's not selling the team. He's not. Las Vegas could inherit the A's. They've proposed a 30,000-seat stadium, which would be the smallest in MLB, on a 9-acre plot of land that's owned by the Tropicana Hotel on the Vegas Strip. 30,000 seats, that's all they need. Like, that's what, roughly 2.5 times bigger than a AAA park? It seems kind of crazy. Like, imagine the closest, if you've ever been to see a Toledo Mud Hens game, all right, a park that's just about double that size. That's going to be an MLB stadium? Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
30,000 seems
okay, basically they're taking the Skyline seats out of Comerica Park. That's what you have to look at. I mean,
maybe they'll be a little closer.
the last two sections on each side of the upper deck, that's what they're taking out. It's really not that bad.
Now, the entire upper deck.
No, it's. I mean, Comerica Park only holds 44,000. Anthony, 44,500. It's not like it's 70,000 people there or something. It's not
44,500. You think that's the entire upper deck?
No, gosh, no.
14,000 seats?
There's so many seats up there. I would say a third of that is 15,000. Look at those sections, dude. The 334. That's an enormous section of seats.
They just sit there empty. So that's what Vegas is planning, and the A's fans showed up in protest. He's not going to sell the team. I'm sorry, A's fans. You've lost everything. You lost the Warriors. You lost the A's. You lost the Raiders. Like, it's over for pro sports in Oakland. We'll step aside. John Wagner will join us next. We'll switch gears, talk a little college football here on X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Hey, Meyer. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd.
Let's root for the home team. This week, shop Meyer for 30% off Tigers apparel. Exclusions apply.
Let me root
Meyer, your proud hometown partner of the Detroit Tigers. Now that's a winning team.
For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Go Tigers!
Bullying, lack of patience, cruelty to animals. Those are not good traits. They also happen to be critical warning signs of violence. June is Gun Violence Awareness Month, and the Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police wants you to know that at-risk people often display warning signs before they resort to gun violence. Search online for 10 critical warning signs of violence and ask your local police department how you can safely make a difference.
Hey, this is Matt Shepard from the Michigan Sports Network. I love summers in Michigan because it means golf season. Now, two things always when I go golfing. I make sure I got my sticks, and I've got plenty of cold, fresh Labatt Blue Light. Whether I've just squeezed in 18 holes or I just want to relax on the patio after a long day, everywhere I go, and I'm serious when I tell you this, I tell people about the smooth, genuine taste of Labatt Blue Light. It's just a great beer. Michigan Sports Network is giving you a chance to win a foursome to Michigan's best courses. Just listen weekdays to The Huge Show and X's and Bros, or just text GOLF to 21,000 to enter. That's GOLF to 21,000. The trip includes 2 overnight stays and 2 rounds of golf, all brought to you by my friends at Labatt Blue Light. So grab a Labatt Blue Light the next time you head out onto the course and enjoy the blue skies, because blue is for Michigan summers and great times. Always enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2023 Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York. All rights reserved. Labatt is a registered U.S. trademark of Labatt Brewing Company, Ltd.
I'm working on it, Dan. I'm working on it. For whatever reason, I can't seem to find. Oh, there we go. All right, it's time now to bring it in. Dan's having some computer issues over there, and so we have John Wagner. So this is good. Welcome back here to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network. Danny Cahalan, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all joining us now, as he does typically on Wednesday mornings. A member of the National Football Foundation and Football Writers Association of America, covered the Detroit Tigers minor league system for a couple of decades. Our good buddy John Wagner. Find him on Twitter at John Wagner Media and set that man straight with all kinds of mean tweets. John, my friend, how are you this morning, partner? How are you? How's life? How are things?
Well, Anthony, first of all, I am a little slice of heaven. Thank you. Hope you and your listeners are well. But you do not need to tell people to send angry tweets my way. They do that unbridled,
unsolicited.
Unsolicited, indeed. That is exactly right.
I actually found video of you, John, because we you went, much like the rest of the Tigers roster, you went on the IL, and we missed you last week, and a video surfaced, you mouthing the same words as Javi Baez did to the fans on Monday night, and I was like, John, I didn't know you spoke that kind of French. Wow.
No, actually last week, Anthony, I was buried alive at work. I went to 3 high school graduations in 8 days. You would think it had made me even a tiny bit smarter. It did not. And it just crazy week. So my apologies to you and your listeners, or actually maybe for some of your listeners, it should be, you're welcome. I wasn't on the show last week. You are welcome, but you should also be warned. I'm back, and I'm sure Anthony wants to know as much time as we could spend on the Tigers, right? You want to drill down on that as deeply as you can, right?
Oh yeah, I mean,
Anthony?
what a story they've been the last 10 to 12 days. My goodness.
Yeah, well, I was thinking, let's give you and your listeners a break, because while it is mid-June and it doesn't seem like college football season is close at all, there has been a lot of interesting developments in college football this summer. Has there not?
Yes, there have been, John. A very, good time to kind of mix it up a little bit, throw a little college football. It's interesting. We talked college football yesterday. We must have been booming across the land of 10,000 lakes, and you must have been knowing that we were onto something. People got the itch. I mean, they want to fight me already over Michigan, Ohio State, and we're months away from the game.
What? Okay, you're going to have to help me here, Anthony. What exactly are they fighting you on, Michigan and Ohio State? I assume a scheduling issue, am I correct?
Well, no. If Michigan wouldn't have beat Ohio State in the last 2 years, what would Michigan football be today? And I told him, if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. But she doesn't, so she ain't. That's what I tell him, John. That's preposterous. That's like the guy who says, well, if Denard wouldn't have thrown 5 interceptions, we would have won the game. Oh, yeah, and if the earth was flat, I'd find a way to walk off the thing right now. Like, are you kidding me right now? What in the hell is wrong with these people, John?
Sometimes people got to ask stupid questions to entertain themselves. And I'm with you, Anthony. It's one of those where, why would you wonder about if it had happened, what the result would be? It didn't happen. Why are we looking backwards instead of forward? Why? I assume people would be more concerned about scheduling and just how the Big Ten schedule is getting really watered down. I got to say, and I get an overwhelming percentage of your listeners are Michigan and Michigan State fans. Totally get it. Totally understand it. But I want you to take just a moment and put yourself in the shoes of Penn State football fans.
Oh.
Just for a moment.
Yes.
That's a good program. Can we agree on that?
Yeah.
That's a really elite program.
Well, I'm not going to call them elite, but I mean, they're good.
Well,
they're decent. They're top
okay.
4 in the Big Ten.
Okay, very good. Let's call it very good then. Elite what's elite? Ohio State and Michigan, that's it?
Elite to me would be Georgia and Alabama. maybe you throw Ohio State in there. That would be the elite is the very. I mean, this is the NIL checks are flowing. They're producing pros at every position. They're loading up in the draft. They're constantly top 15 in the country in recruiting. Their NIL, your transfer portal money is flowing. I mean, it's just chaos. That to me is elite.
You know, you just brought up two words that really are kind of the bane of my existence right now.
Oh, boy.
But I want to come back in just for a second. You're telling me that Michigan does not check enough of those boxes to be considered elite? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, they don't have a national title since 1997, John. I'm not going to sit here with this Michigan football helmet on my desk and that Chris Webber jersey behind me and bold-faced lie to all of our wonderful listeners across the state. They know Michigan writes my checks. They see me prancing around on the sidelines, chucking T-shirts, 500 yards. People are wondering why I don't have a scholarship out there to play quarterback. It's I'm too pretty to get hit, John. That's why I don't have a scholarship to play quarterback. I can't read a defense. Hell, I can't even read English. That's neither here nor there. I can't sit up here and prop my team up to tell everyone that they're elite when the only two appearances they have in the new format, the college football playoff, they got rolled and smoked is what happened. I mean, they got hit with a weed whacker, like they got ran over by a lawnmower or something. I can't do that. So we're not elite yet. You got to at least make it to the championship game. Got to win one of those things to be elite.
Okay. The only counter, and I'll make it a mild counter, is you're in the Final Four. Only 4 schools can say that out of 130-ish. So if you're not elite, Michigan is knocking on the door. Okay?
Yeah.
But let's turn gears for just a second. You've said two words that's kind of been it's really been dragging me down the last couple of years when it comes to college football. And those two words are
transfer portal.
You are ding, ding, ding.
It's because I know you, John.
Absolutely right.
Most of the time, I hope our listeners understand, most of the time that John and I disagree, it's because I know that he's going to disagree with me. I know John Wagner like the back of my hand, folks. If you had any idea how many times we had to watch not your heinous, not my heinous, but our heinous Diaz chop foul balls off the window in front of us together, he and I holding hands while John's counting. Hey, what was that 17th pitch this 14th reliever just threw in the 87th inning of this godforsaken game on a Tuesday night? Do we have fireworks? Are there any dogs at the ballpark tonight? Like, come on. John and I, we know each other well. So I knew transfer portal was going to drive this man up the wall.
And here's, Anthony, promise me that you are seated, your tray in its upright position, you have your seatbelt on and tight. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
I am really getting tired of the NFL showing college football how it should run its business when it comes to transfers and the transfer portal.
What?
The NFL does a great job. They call it free agency. People spend March to July going bonkers trying to figure out where third-string offensive tackles are going to line up. I mean, it is the biggest WC in the world, and the answer is apparently everybody cares. The NFL does a great job, not good, great job of trumpeting free agency.
Mm-hmm.
And college football, they would have to improve to be considered dreadful at college free agency. We don't know. We barely know who's leaving. We barely know where they're going. It just is unbearable to try and figure out who's where and when. I mean, you've got to have a program for that first week of the season to have lineups because guys are moving all over the place and we can't follow them. How are you supposed to get excited about a college football season when you don't know who is where?
Oh, John.
That's just brutal.
John, are you buckled up? Are you sitting down? Are you ready? Hold on to your butts here, folks. College football is a microcosm of society here in America in today's world of 2023. Everybody wants everything. They want exactly how they want it. They want it 5 minutes ago. And if they don't get it the way they want it, Well, they're going to be miserable. They're going to be unhappy. And
they're going to transfer. They'll transfer, Anthony.
Well, a lot of people said they were moving to Canada. I didn't see anybody moving a few years ago because nobody's got. In the words of Jim Harbaugh, who's got it better than us? Nobody. I mean, this is ridiculous. I'm on board with you. And you want to know why they do this? They do this because there's no rules. The NCAA folded like a lawn chair. It looked like the mascot that got punched out by Conor McGregor the other night in the NBA game. That's what it looks like. They're straight down, just like a tent in the wind. We have no control. We're not going to do anything. Anybody can transfer at any moment. There's no contracts. There's no collectively bargained agreement. So the NIL money's all willy-nilly and, bagman everywhere. I absolutely, for the college football diehards and the people who said, oh, that game's better than the pros. First off, the product, no way. Secondly, you can't look at it today and tell me that this is better than the NFL. This is an absolute disaster. And where is the adult in the room to put their foot down, right? I want to give the power back to the adults. Let's not get it out of the kids' hands. Because in no way, shape, and form do I want an adolescent running my household. It ain't happening. You live here. I pay the bills. I'm the one working. This is how this is going to work. Get the power back in the adults' hands because this is ludicrous.
Here's the problem with the power being in the adults' hands. When we see all these college programs transferring willy-nilly, that's with the adults with their hands on the wheel. SMU potentially going to the Pac-12, that's an adult decision, Anthony? You got to be joking me.
Oh, yeah.
Frankly, honestly, USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten, that's all about grabbing it for as much money as you can grab. And there's no other reason. N-O.
Oh, 100%.
No other reason to make that happen.
100%.
Well, that's the adults in the room. Who cares about making sure schedules work? Who cares about, you understand that with USC and UCLA in the Big Ten, for football, that's one thing. For basketball, it's another thing. For every other sport, holy mackerel, you just blew up your travel budget. You just blew it up because you're probably going to go to the West Coast.
A lot of those teams are going. A lot of those teams are going to the West Coast anyway. So let's take golf for example, because I use golf because I like golf. I played golf competitively. I have a soft spot for golf, and I know that in my mythological world, where we use your great example of the National Football League, and Nick Saban talked about this. What about 2 weeks ago? We played that audio for you. You got to hear from the coach. You got to unionize. You got to unionize the players, and they have to collectively bargain. And the TV networks all have to get on the same page with the body that is going to govern college football, whatever that's going to be, the College Football Playoff Committee or the NCAA, or maybe they'll have a subcommittee or whatever. But somebody's got to be the commissioner of college football. Somebody's got to get all these TV rights deals on the books, and other sports that can't make money are going to suffer because you have a product that just doesn't sell. I'm sorry. It's no different than being in the grocery business. You know what we sell a lot of? Hamburger. You know what we don't sell a lot of? Veal scallopini. If we got to pull the scallopini pan out, guess what? It's not selling. Pull it out of the case. There's no point in having it in there. It's doing nothing but costing you money. So if you lose lacrosse and Quidditch and golf and whatever, competitive dodgeball, swimming, diving, all this other stuff, if you lose it, it's not my fault. You pick the sport in a program that doesn't generate any revenue for the school. That's not my problem. Welcome to capitalism. Welcome to America.
Oh, dear God.
Oh, I know you hate that. I know you hate that.
I do. That hits me right in my core because, my God, the number of opportunities that you are blowing up to pray to the football god, maybe the basketball god, the number of opportunities for kids, elite athletes, you're blowing up 10 times the number of opportunities than you are creating with your football.
I'm not trying to create any opportunities with football. Oh,
no. Not, Anthony.
Oh, no. Here's the thing. We got 85 scholarship athletes and some of them are getting who knows how much money they're getting, right? So they don't have to pay for school. They're not paying for room and board. Who knows if they still get the stipend? They're getting the food, the nutrition. I mean, Ohio State's spending $12,000 at breakfast every day. Like, it's ridiculous. Okay, you got all that. Now we're going to actually pay some of our players. And Ryan Day's on record as saying he needs, $13 million for the top 20 guys they can't live without or something like that. Like, yeah, we got to have a salary cap. We got to have actual free agent. We have to have contracts signed. If you commit to a school, you got to sign a minimum a 2-year deal. We got to get this thing under wraps because this is the Wild West. This is a battle of the haves versus the have-nots. It always has been, but now it's even exponentially worse. And I can't lie. If you got a product that doesn't sell, that ain't my fault.
Well, and I think what we're losing sight of here is you want to turn college football into a mini NFL.
Oh, no, John. I don't even want NIL.
Yeah.
I don't want this. They're forcing.
you do.
No, I don't. I don't want it. I know
you do.
they're amateurs. 100% they're amateurs. When you're good enough to go to the pros, you're good enough to go to the pros, you can go to the pros and go collect a paycheck. When you are, but under the current circumstance, I have to be able to adjust. I got to be able to adapt as the times change, John. I got to be like a chameleon out here. You know, I got to get out of my cocoon and turn into that beautiful butterfly. The only way to do that is by adjusting my way of thinking. If this is what the players want, because it's all, I mean, this is unpaid labor. I can't believe they're making us do this. You want to throw that opportunity out the window? You want to have a paycheck? By all means. But here's the rules. This is how we're going to do it.
Anthony, that's all what you just said is beyond absurd. The problem here is you are dealing with colleges, but you want to treat them like pros.
I don't.
I have a money-making entity here, and I don't want anything to mess it up.
John, I don't though. I don't want it.
You said capitalism earlier, Anthony.
But I don't want that. That's the reality of the situation. I want them to be. I want the old system. I don't want NIL. I want scholarships. I want you to live in a dorm. I don't want you to get paid to play college football. You're not good enough to collect a check. When you are good enough, you'll get drafted and go to the NFL. Because at the end of the day, these college kids are going to come and go, but the brands remain the same. The fans are loyal to the brand. The players are the players. They care about their school, their fight song, their tradition, tailgating.
Anthony, so let's blow up any basically what Nick Saban's going to have to, was said a moment ago, is what you want to happen. You want to push these players down so hard that they'll unionize because they're the ones that are making the money for these schools. Hey, Michigan's helmet is nice, but it is not what brings fans to a game. It is the elite athletes who are winning games for them. It ain't the pretty stadium.
And you've had wonderful compensation in room and board and food and scholarships for all these years, and you people want to go and ruin it. And here's what you get. Careful what you wish for. He's John Wagner. Find him on Twitter at John Wagner Media. He's trying to unionize on me, folks. It's a reality. I love you, John. Have a great day.
Anthony, this conversation is not over. You and your listeners have a great week.
Well, I'm excited. Not over. What is part 2 going to entail? We'll find out next week. We'll find out more here on X's and Bros. Coming up next, hour 3 on the Michigan Sports Network.
To not only play in the NBA, but to coach.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey, Meyer. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd.
Let's root for the home team. This week, shop Meijer for 30% off Tigers apparel. Exclusions apply. Meijer, your proud hometown partner of the Detroit Tigers. Now that's a winning team.
For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Go Tigers!
Imagine this, a day filled with indulgence, bursting with excitement, and packed with extraordinary moments that build memories to last a lifetime. A day that is unmistakably yours, at the place that is undeniably spectacular. Whether you're winning big, dining lavishly, or relaxing oh so comfortably, it's your getaway reimagined at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Join us now, as he does typically on Wednesday.
It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
Swings it out to Sadiq Bey. Defended in the corner.
To Abdul-Rahman at midcourt. Extra pass. And it goes for the win. The three-pointer by Jordan Poole. Here's the give. Walker. Kenneth Walker. Touchdown. Smarty.
Goff's got it. Back. Looks. Throws. Ends up. Yes. Caught. Touchdown to Detroit Lions. They did it. Amon-Ra St. Brown in the receiving end.
Sends one to deep left center field. Back it goes, and that ball's out of here. A grand slam from Miguel Cabrera. He's got 2 goals. Larkin in on goal. Scores! His first career hat trick in his 7th season for Dylan Larkin.
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. Welcome back here. Hour number 3 on this Wednesday, the 14th day of June 2023. Great to have you ride along with us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio as well. From Traverse City down to the Glass City, GR to the Motor City. We say good morning to you. We welcome you. We thank you. We appreciate you. And, of course, we encourage you. Join the program at any time. You can text the keyword sports radio. Send that to 21,000, Sports Radio to 21000. Meyer Supercenter guest line 248-951-2176, 248-951-2176. We're on Twitter at XB Mornings, Facebook, X's and Bros. And, of course, good morning to our television audience as well on BCSN and streaming live on our YouTube page at Michigan Sports Network. Add a .com to that to find our website. xbmornings@gmail.com is the fan feedback email inbox. And you can find us all individually on Twitter. Danny Cahalan is at Dan in the studio. Ryan Elke is at RyanL_Key. And I'm Anthony Bellino at AC Bellino. All right, poll question for you two. Here's my issue. Played that scramble on Saturday. Knocked down a ton of putts, right? Putting is very good right now. Very good. I have a Scotty Cameron Pro Platinum, the Newport 2.5. A buddy of mine is selling a Scotty Cameron Studio Select Laguna 1.5. He wants $220 for it, and he has the head cover. And he's got an alternative head cover, if that one was more appealing than the first head cover. It is in the photos that I got. He said, I want to see photos of it. Like, get close. It is in pristine condition. I mean, if you search for Scotty Cameron's online, I'm going to tell you something. Even though my putting is very, very good, my Newport feels like the toe of the club is bent a little bit, like the toe is bent a little bit more forward than the heel, and it feels like the face is lofted. And I don't know why it feels like that. But especially, like, depending on where the sun is at and the light that when it hits it, I'm like, dude, this thing is all out of whack. Like, do I need to move my wrist forward? Like, how do I get this? Like, why does this thing?
Why do you think that, though?
Because when
when you look at it
from
when you're putting,
from when I'm putting, or if I hold it straight out and look at it, it looks like the toe is bent in and it's lofted. Is what it looks like.
And how long?
Well, I mean, there is 1 degree of loft on a putter.
Yeah, typically, between like what, 1 to 3.
Yeah. And how long have you felt your putter has been this way? Forever, or ever since you knew the other putter was for sale?
No, forever.
Okay.
Forever. I got this back in 2004 and bought it used, secondhand. And I'm like, this thing, and he just texted me during the break. He's like, hey, man, you want that putter? And I'm like, ugh, yeah, I do. But can I tell you something else? I've always wanted to have, you're going to laugh at me, a long putter. I don't know why, but there is something about, I don't know why. Like, there's no reason to think about changing my putting at all. I mean, our scrambles team, like, we don't shoot what we shoot if I'm not knocking out putts from everywhere. everywhere. Just get on the green. I was automatic. Like, it was insane. Guys I was playing with were like, what in the house? I don't know. Just feeling it, man. Like, I walked up to one that was like, I don't know, 18 paces maybe, and I just felt the line. And right before I hit the putt, I hollered out to my buddy Thomas. I said, Thomas, go right down a circle on the card. Hit it, just dropped. They were losing their minds. I'm like, I'm in the zone. I'm in the zone right now. There's no stopping it. Do I purchase this putt? I mean, for $220, it's a steal, comparatively speaking, if you were to look for this exact putter on eBay, considering condition. I know the owner. Like, it's a $400 putter. Do I pull the trigger on this?
I don't know, Anthony. I've been telling you since last year that brand new clubs aren't going to help your game. Have you realized that yet?
Oh, the clubs have absolutely helped my game.
Okay, but have they taken you? Have they helped you? Have they hit their value?
Yes. Yes,
I find that hard to believe. What were you shooting before those clubs?
Oh, about the same as I shoot now.
Okay.
In fact, this season I think I'm a little bit worse just because up until Saturday I had no control of the driver, and I was playing courses where, if you miss right, you miss left, you're in a jungle, you're in a neighborhood. Like, I was taking too many penalty strokes. Like, I got golf league today. I didn't play well last week. I know I'm going to play well this week. I know that I'm going to walk. Yeah. Like, now that I got that, if I got some confidence with that driver, like, it's a whole different ball game. I think I needed to play in a scrambles to where, it's okay if you miss one, you miss a green because the guy in front of you hit one on the green. So there's not as much of that, that pressure, that feeling of playing your own ball. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes throwing a scrambles outing in there every once in a while is good for you, just to shake things up. But I think that with my irons, when I went and got fitted for them, I think that they are absolutely, that process is worth it. The ball flight, the length in which I, hit each club. Now, I feel very, very confident. I just got to put a solid 18 holes together. Like, I'd like to be able to play and practice. Like, I was practicing more in the month of May, in early May. I mean, my chipping is on fire. And it's not just bump and runs. It's not low chips, like off of tight lies. Like, it's flop shots. It's bunker play. It's all of it. Like, you stick a wedge in my hand, like, I feel great. Like, we're trying to make the shot. And it's just like, man, if I just tighten up that driver, now I'm not, going to the hazard, dropping 3 on every hole. You know what I mean? I'm not fortunate enough, like Tommy Fleetwood, when I want to pound one 30 yards right, it just randomly hits a grandstand. And then I get a free drop. I don't live in that fantasy world there. Do I buy the putter?
No. I did, Anthony, I just asked you.
Thanks for the honesty.
How much?
You didn't tell me what I wanted to hear, so that was good.
I asked you how much. I don't even want to know. I think we all know how much. Between $3,000 and $5,000 on some golf clubs last year, and you just said
on the low end.
You just said you're playing worse this year.
My scores are worse,
and you want to spend more money on clubs.
I'm a better golfer,
practice.
I'm a better golfer, but my scores are worse because I don't. That doesn't make sense to you.
That's funny. It's good.
That doesn't make sense.
How does that? No, you have to score to be good. I know what you're saying. Yeah, you're a better golfer because I can get to the green from 3 fairways away, while some guys watching you walk 3 fairways away.
Oh yeah, I can make par from anywhere. I just can't. I just got to stop hitting it in hazards. Just got to stop doing that. All right, I'll text him back during the next break, and then we'll
do it, Anthony. Be the angel and devil on your shoulder. Treat yourself.
Ooh. I got to stop treating myself. I've treated myself a little too much in the last 6 weeks. I need to chill out. We'll be back with more X's and Bros after this here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Dad, the big guy, Pops. Whatever you call him, find everything for him this Father's Day at Meijer. Shop $9.99 Falls Creek men's polos and get Dad and everyone else new shoes with buy one, get one for $1 shoes for the family. Find the perfect card and the perfect gift because no matter what he's into, you can find it all in one stop. Plus, get the same low prices online and in-store for easy home delivery and pickup. Get more for your money at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in the Meijer app.
Disturbed, the Take Back Your Life Tour. Labor Day Monday, September 4th at Soaring Eagle. And same show, same night, Stained. Tickets start at $34 and on sale now at the Soaring Eagle box office or etix.com. Party hard, rock harder. It's been a while. Disturbed and Stained. Labor Day Monday, part of the Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series.
Hey, this is Matt Shepard from the Michigan Sports Network. I love summers in Michigan because it means golf season. Now, two things always when I go golfing. I make sure I got my sticks, and I've got plenty of cold, fresh Labatt Blue Light. Whether I've just squeezed in 18 holes or I just want to relax on the patio after a long day, everywhere I go, and I'm serious when I tell you this, I tell people about the smooth, genuine taste of Labatt Blue Light. It's just a great beer. Michigan Sports Network is giving you a chance to win a foursome to Michigan's best courses. Just listen weekdays to The Huge Show and X's and Bros, or just text GOLF to 21,000 to enter. That's GOLF to 21,000. The trip includes 2 overnight stays and 2 rounds of golf, all brought to you by my friends at Labatt Blue Light. So grab a Labatt Blue Light the next time you head out onto the course and enjoy the blue skies, because blue is for Michigan summers and great times. Always enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2023 Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York. All rights reserved. Labatt is a registered U.S. trademark of Labatt Brewing Company, Ltd.
Share your thoughts all morning long on the Meyer Guest Line. Call 248-951-2176. That's 248-951-2176. Now, back to Danny, Ryan, and AB.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. We were talking a little golf. Now's a great time to book your stay and play at Tullymore Golf Resort in Canadian Lakes, offering not one but two championship courses, Tullymore and St. Ives. Located about an hour north of Grand Rapids, 30 minutes west of Mount Pleasant, smack dab in the middle of the state, easy to get to no matter where you are at. Tullymore not only features top-of-the-line golf, but also top-of-the-line accommodations and the perfect space for your wedding event, reception, or group outing. Visit TullymoreGolf.com. TullymoreGolf.com or call 1-800-972-4837, 1-800-972-4837. Book your stay and play at Tullymore today. Let's get to Bob in Waters. Wants to talk a little Tigers baseball. Good morning to you, Bob. How are you, my friend?
Oh, real good, thanks. You know what? I was going to do a rant about the Tigers, but your golf story was so entertaining that now I'm in a good mood. I would rather talk about the Lions.
Oh, okay. Well, let's shift gears. There we go.
And, I was out of the loop. I didn't know what free agents had left the Lions. And I read the Detroit newspaper at the Gaylord Library yesterday, and I see that Anzalone, Barnes, and Rodriguez are still there at linebacker. And they said that the new linebacker, the number one pick, might not necessarily be a starter. But I got looking at their roster in a magazine I have, and they still have Akeem McNeil and that big guy named Bugs.
Bugs, Isaiah Bugs and Aleem McNeil. Yep.
Well, see, I think they could switch on and off. They could do the 4-3 or the 3-4. They have actual nose tackles. And another thing is, with all these running quarterbacks nowadays, in the old days, if you faced a running quarterback like Steve Young or Randall Cunningham, you had what was called a spy, and he went with a quarterback. And if you had four linebackers, you could fill that position, hopefully. And but I do have an important question. There was their third running back last year. His initials were JJ. He was like, Justin
Jackson.
Justin Jackson.
Okay, thank you. Is he still with him?
Oh, is Justin Jackson still on the squad? Because when you said JJ, I immediately thought Jamar Jefferson, who's still listed on the team. Is Justin Jackson still with the Lions? I haven't heard his name at camp, and I don't know if he is. I think I'm almost. Yeah, he's still 42. Yeah, he should still be with the team.
Yeah,
as far
he's
as I
so
know.
young. They had to keep him. They had such depth in the skill positions. That's the one thing I really like about him. And this guy averaged about 26 yards a carry. They didn't use him a lot. He's like Tom Kennedy, didn't use him a lot, but they'd come up with 40 yards when you needed it. And I got a good feeling about the Lions. I think when the Lions play the Chiefs on September 7th, it's the teams that have the Lions on their schedule that are in trouble. The Lions will just be themselves, and if they could execute, they're going to be dominant. I think they're going to blow everybody's mind.
I really hope so. We've got some conversations. John Macaroon, All Lions, Sports Illustrated, their coverage. He'll be joining us. Tim Twentyman, my conversation with him from DetroitLions.com. So that's coming up tomorrow and Friday. We'll have plenty to go on the Lions there for you, Bob. And I'm excited for you to hear that because there's going to be some talk about that linebacker position because in today's game, with everybody running a lot of 11 personnel where you have three wide receivers in the ball game. You're looking at more of a nickel presence, right, with your three corners and your two safeties. So how does C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Cam Sutton, when Emmanuel Mosley gets up to full speed, right? Those three new additions at the cornerback position, along with guys like Jerry Jacobs and Will Harris, and then your two safeties in the back end, Kirby Joseph and Tracy Walker, you have legitimate depth now in the secondary. And if you're running out 5 DBs or at sometimes even 6 defensive backs, what are our linebackers going to look like? Can it be Derek Barnes? A lot of positive talk about Derek Barnes. I'm high on Derek Barnes because of the athlete that he is. He just, last year I was really hoping that he was going to be that guy that was going to take that step. It sounds like he's taken that step this offseason to this point. And as for Jack Campbell, it doesn't matter that you are a first rounder. Linebacker coach Kelvin Shepard said that it doesn't, he got the phone call. Derek Barnes called him. Alex Anzalone called him and said, look, like, why would we take a linebacker? Like, what's the deal here? And it's an open competition. And I think that that's very important because it didn't matter that Malcolm Rodriguez was drafted in the 6th round. That young man started football games because they thought he was the best at that position, and that's why you're out there. And I think that's important for a guy like Jack Campbell to understand, and he's learning this very soon, that, look, it doesn't matter where you were drafted. Only the best players are going to play, and it's the first time that I think that we've had healthy competition at linebacker and at the secondary in recent memory. I mean, it's been years.
In a long time. Rodriguez is a scrapper. Anzalone played all 17 games. I think he led the Lions in tackles. And so Campbell's not under any pressure to be like Hutchinson, superstar all of a sudden. He can work his way in, and I hope Campbell. Campbell not only made me like the Lions again, he made me like football again. They're so tricky. I could see them jumping from a 4-3 to a 3-4, giving teams different looks, and I think that, the endless possibilities.
Oh, and they will. They ran a couple of different packages where they went 2 defensive tackles, basically, in the A gaps there, and then they stood up on the edges, right? I mean, we saw Aiden Hutchinson drop back into coverage and intercept passes. Like that's one of them was intentional, and one of them was a read and react against Aaron Rodgers, where he saw what was happening, decided, I'm going to pull off this blitz. I know I'm supposed to go at the quarterback, but I can get this football. Like that to me, like that's just a player. They got great versatility. Bob and Waters, I'm glad that you're all in on the Lions train, because now is the time. We're coming down the tracks at a high rate of speed, Bob. It's the Lions of the Super Bowl, baby. Let's go.
I got a feeling.
All right. I appreciate the call. Thanks for listening, my friend.
Yep, see ya.
Adios. There he goes, Bob and Waters. Hey, folks, a reminder. Step into a world of nonstop action. DraftKings Casino. Play the classics like blackjack, roulette, slots, plus enjoy exclusive games you can't find anywhere else. Right now, new customers who deposit at least $5 can get a match on their first deposit and score up to $2,000 in casino bonus funds. All you got to do is sign up, select the offer of your choice, and start playing from a full suite of games. Download the DraftKings Casino app right now. Sign up using the promo code HUGE. You get a match your first deposit of $5 to up to $2,000 in your hand. Who doesn't love the sound of that? Only at DraftKings Casino. Only using the promo code HUGE. Now, if you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, wants help, needs help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline, 800-270-7117. 21 plus, Michigan only. 1 per opted-in customer. Minimum $5 deposit, max match $2,000. Deposit and bonus amount required 15 times playthrough within 30 days. See terms at casino.draftkings.com/players choice. Restrictions do apply. Couple of text messages here. Torque Job, Wilmer Flores for Mike Trout. Get rid of Scope and the other dead weight. Bring in another veteran bat through trade and watch ticket sales soar. And the mix of veterans and young kids coming up make this team so much better. It's time for a team in this town to make a huge splash. I don't think the Angels would take that, but I'd do it. Sure. For Mike Trout? Yeah. How many more prime years does he have? I don't want him on the back end of a Miguel Cabrera contract. I definitely don't want that. But yeah. I mean, I'd probably prefer Shohei Ohtani. Although with once he gets to Detroit, all of a sudden his UCL will probably fall off. We'll have to duct tape it back on. But yeah, I'd be all in for that. I would prefer Shohei over Trout, but you could come up with any trade scenario you want. And I'm saying, yeah, if you're getting a guy like Mike Trout, an Aaron Judge, a Shohei Ohtani, if you're getting a legitimate MLB player, a star on this team, please, God, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. I'm all in on that. We're going to step aside. We'll be back. Couple more text messages, plus Monty Williams introduced yesterday. Dan has a gripe with the press conference. He is not happy with this introductory conference. Find out why next here, Michigan Sports Network.
Hey, Meyer. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd.
Let's root for the home team. This week, shop Meyer for 30% off Tigers apparel. Exclusions apply. Meyer, your proud hometown partner of the Detroit Tigers. Now that's a winning team.
Oh, it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old bar.
Imagine this, winning big at Soaring Eagle. Roll on Fridays to win a share of over $8,000 in premium play. Each week in June from 7 to 11 p.m., 3 lucky players every hour roll the dice for prizes. The rolling champion each night wins $1,000 premium play. Roll on Fridays, only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
Have you ever played golf at Tullymore, St. Ives? Have you experienced a stay-and-play package in Canadian Lakes, Michigan, less than an hour north of Grand Rapids? Well, here's what you need to do if you want to take advantage of great deals right now. Go to TullymoreGolf.com. That's TullymoreGolf.com, and you'll see the link for packages, accommodations, dining, meetings, weddings, events, and so much more. And especially golf on the 18-hole layout at Tullymore and the 18 holes at St. Ives. And they can accommodate any group, whether it's 2 people getting together or 200 looking for a weekend or an overnight celebration. That includes a little business, golf, great food, and beverages. Just go to TullymoreGolf.com. That's TullymoreGolf.com. They're located in Canadian Lakes, Michigan, less than an hour north of GR. Get more info at TullymoreGolf.com.
is X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. Excited about a stay-and-play package at Tullymore Golf. You should be. You should be. Call Matt Golden and his team right now at 1-800-972-4837, 1-800-972-4837. Conveniently located in Canadian Lakes, smack dab in the middle of the state, so it's easy to get to no matter where you're going from, and enjoy 2 championship courses in Tullymore and St. Ives. You're able to take the free shuttle. They'll bounce you around from spot to spot. You can stay right there on the grounds. To book your stay and play, or even an event, some sort of reception you might be having, maybe a wedding, got one coming up there in July, visit tullymoregolf.com, tullymoregolf.com. All right, so GB Ritz is talking me into buying the putter. Dan laughed at me because he asked me if I'm a better golfer, and I said yes with my new equipment, but I haven't scored better. And he laughed at me because I said that. It hurt my feelings this morning, which is fine. That's okay. And you know, we're gonna get past it. We're gonna move forward. But I want the putter. And I have so many different directions I want to go right now. First, I'll get to the text. Any chance Weiserman remembers the playoffs? Any chance you want to call him and ask him? Think a guy that's hoisted the cup that doesn't remember what it's like? I mean, you know, for a guy that loved Al Avila to give Steve Yzerman so much crap, even though he's had success at every level of his career, that to me, I don't know if anything bothers me more. I don't know why, as a host doing syndicated morning radio in the state of Michigan, why I have to constantly defend Steve Yzerman, one of the 4 greatest athletes that's ever worn a Detroit uniform. I just can't figure it out. I can't seem to figure that out. Why is that? Can anybody explain that to me?
4 greatest
ever. Regardless of sport.
Iconic players, I would say. Yes, I would agree. Best, I don't know. Best, not even close, actually, but iconic, yes.
What? Not even close?
Anthony, we've discussed this. Steve Yzerman is not even close to the top 4 athlete in Detroit sports. Iconic, as in, yes, he meant the world to the team. Yes, he was a great captain. Not the best hockey player. It's fine.
Who's in your top 4?
Barry. He's probably going to put Barry, Calvin, Gordie Howe.
Nick Lidstrom is ahead of Steve Yzerman. I mean, Ted Lindsay might be ahead of Steve Yzerman in skill. Anthony, again, it's not skill versus what they meant to the team. It's different.
Right, and skill's a little bit different in 1995 than it is, but that's right. Hey, the difference of opinion. Difference of opinion.
The guy didn't make an all-star team for the first 17 seasons of his career, Anthony, and he was scoring 60 goals a year. That tells you something.
What does that tell me?
That he didn't back-check a single shift until Scotty Bowman told him to. And then they started winning cups.
And he was drafted in what year?
His first year was 83, I think.
And Scotty Bowman then,
showed
according
up
to the math, got there at 2000?
Got there like 96.
Come on, 60 goals a season. Right, difference of opinion. It's a Mount Rushmore of Detroit sports. Steve Yzerman does not make yours, although he does make mine. And we can leave it at that because we could argue this till the cows come home. Is it a guarantee the Lions will turn it around and win playoff games? No, nothing's guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. There's not a guarantee I'm going to wake up tomorrow. You want me to guarantee that the Lions are going to make the playoffs? What? Who is more injury prone, Riley Green or Cade Cunningham? If you had to trade one for a great return of talent for the roster, which would you trade? I think you'd have to move on from Cade because I think he gives you immediate value in proven professional players, and I think that Riley Green's more of a trade him for Baseball America's prospects that will never make the MLB. Torque, Joe, Wilbur. Oh yeah, we got to those. We got to those last two already. Freddie is on hold. Good morning, Freddie. How are you?
In that text message, I didn't dog Steve Eiserman. All I simply said was, does he remember the playoffs? I mean, since he's been here, he hasn't been in the playoffs. So, it's a simple question. Does he think he remembers the playoffs? What did I say wrong about Steve Eiserman? I told you, he's in my top 3 favorite athletes in Detroit of all time behind Joe Dumars.
Does Steve Eiserman remember the playoffs? What kind of question is that? That's not even like, that's one of the ones where, like, when you ask the teacher the question, they throw you out of the classroom because everybody knew what you were getting at, but you said something that was a little bit inappropriate, and boom, you're down the hallway.
No. See, what's going on is, you're becoming that fan where you remember Steve Eiserman, the great player, but you're going to let him do whatever he wants here and still not make the playoffs, and you're going to let him get away with it, is what I'm saying.
I'm going to let him get away with it.
Yeah, you're going to let him get away with it.
What would you have me do?
Nothing. But you have to separate the two now. You enjoyed him as a player. Now you got to see what he does as a general manager. He hasn't done anything as a general manager yet for Detroit Red Wings. He hasn't brought him to the playoffs. In hockey, it's about the playoffs. Look what the Vegas Knights have done in 6 years. They made 3 Cup finals already, 2 for sure. I think 3.
That's what happens when you get an expansion draft. Like, that's how it's set up.
But they've also fired 2 or 3 coaches, and they still keep winning.
Okay.
Anyway, the other thing is, I called to make a bet with you. Okay, I say you buy the putter for $220, but I'm going to make this bet with you. Okay, if the Lions win, I say they're not going to win 9 games this year. If you take over 9, I'll take under 9. If they go over 9, I'll pay for the putter.
What if they go under 9?
That I don't know. You gotta give me something.
You'll get nothing and like it. That's what Judge Smale said. How about that?
Listen, I'm with the end. I wouldn't buy the putter. It ain't gonna help you anyway. So just stick with what you got and
do it, Anthony. Do it.
Oh, who's gonna break the tie? Who's gonna break the tie? Well, between
Ben Franklin. Ben Franklin's going to break the tie. What do you mean who's going to break the tie? Uncle Ben.
Anthony, I love you.
Love you
Have
too.
A good day.
Love you too. All he did was draft Nikita Kucherov and Andrei Vasilevsky and Braden Point, Andre Palat, and Anthony Cirelli. Okay. All right. On June 24th in the year of our Lord, 2015, Eiserman won the NHL General Manager of the Year award. He was the first Lightning general manager to receive that honor. The team built by Steve Eiserman set franchise records with 50 wins, 108 points during the regular season. Also led the league with 262 goals and 32 victories at home. Took over the Detroit Red Wings in the 2019-2020 season. Gave Jeff Blashill a chance. Didn't work out. Hired Derek Lalonde. I mean, you talk about Vegas firing coaches. He's fired one coach. Right? God forbid we get a ping pong ball that bounce our way. I still want to see the lottery on television. But, yeah, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We can agree to disagree on that. You could think he's a bum. He doesn't know what he's doing. Whatever. I can't get too aggravated or upset about that. It's very upsetting. All right, our buddy Brad Galley, Channel 7 WXYZ, had a chance to catch up with the new Pistons head coach, Monty Williams, after his introductory press conference. And Dan's got some feelings here. Dan's a little worked up about this presser. I'll play Brad's audio first, and then we'll get to why Dan is unhappy.
you know it well. You just lived through it. Commitments to coaches in the NBA can be very fleeting. To be here and join this Pistons franchise, what enticed you most, and what did their commitment to you mean to you as you stand here as the 37th Pistons head coach?
I mean, I think anytime you have a guy like Troy that wants to be your partner, the people in Detroit may not know it, but Troy is one of the most respected GMs, people in that position in the league, just because of the way he handles his business. No fanfare, he just does his thing. And I had a chance to work with him at OKC, and I saw that. We come from the same area, but I didn't get a chance to work with him until OKC. And I just saw a plotter. You know, he just goes about the work and he goes home. And when he called me the first time, I couldn't even talk to him. And then he called me a week later and we talked. And I told him my situation, and he was generous enough to say that we'll wait. And that really impacted me. So I prayed about it, went to sleep. I woke up the next morning, and I just told him I couldn't do that to him. I understand the process, and I didn't know when I'd be able to coach again. I thought I'd have to take a break from coaching just because of my situation with my wife. And he called me again a week later, and it just so happened that we had found out that we may know sooner that I could get back to coaching because of the testing that she had gone through. So that was it. It was Troy, his belief in me, and then just sitting with Mr. Gores at his house and just kind of talking about the vision, talking about our families, being real about what we wanted to do, gave me an ease about joining this particular team.
We heard a lot from Monty Williams, Tom Gores. Troy Weaver spoke.
I can tell you, I don't know of one interaction I've ever seen where with Tom Gores that put somebody at ease.
Now, there was a quote there from Monty Williams that he said that I really liked. But it's an introductory press conference. We've seen this before. We've done this before. Here's what Monty said about being in Detroit.
I want to, I think Troy feels the same way. In fact, I know he does. Like, I want to have success here to the point where people think I'm from Detroit, the way that they think Dave Bing is from Detroit, even though he's from D.C. I want to have that kind of impact here. And like I said, I marry myself to the job. And I told the players this morning I'm going to give them everything I have because it has been a franchise that has a rich history. And that's something that's important to me.
All right. Dan, you've got some grievances. Feel free. Take the floor.
It's not. It's
Why
not.
you mad, bro?
It's not with Monty Williams, and it's not with Tom Gores or Troy Weaver. Even though Troy Weaver, I don't know how he's so intelligent, yet he can't speak for more than 4 words.
Can't say anything without anything.
Can you say anything? Monty Williams, not on him. It's on the reporters. It's on the media. I don't need to hear 6 different questions about why Monty Williams wants to coach here. He wants to coach here because they're giving him $13 million to coach here every year. I want to hear, what are you going to do? Hey, this team has been the worst defensive team for years. What are you going to do about it? Hey, Monty, this is the worst shooting team in the league for years. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to put these guys in the gym today? Because that's what we want to hear. I don't want to hear about, oh, I love that the whole team is here. Go to the gym. That's where they should be. Everybody's here except for Bojan. Because you know that because Bojan's the only guy you recognize on this roster.
No, he knows. He knows. He had to coach against them. He knows what they have. But I do like the fact that he said that he liked that the players showed up for it. That meant a lot to him. He's an emotional guy. He's been through a lot in life.
I would have pointed, hey, who is that guy, Monty? Can you name, what's that guy's name?
You act like everybody knows everybody in this league. He knows exactly who's on this roster. He knows James Wiseman.
Yeah,
Isaiah
he knows
Stewart.
He knows 75-year-old Corey Joseph.
Everybody knows Corey Joseph. He knows Cade. He knows Jaden Ivey. He knows Jalen Duren. Like, they do scouting reports even against the Pistons. They do put together a report on how to defend and who does what and who shoots what from where. He knows this team probably better than we do.
No, he doesn't. You know why?
Guaranteed he does.
You know why?
Why is
because
that?
In the press conference, Anthony, he said his pastor did the research for him on the team.
His pastor did the research for him on the team.
I can't remember the guy's name. He said Father Reverend something. Yeah, he did research on all the guys. He said these guys are going to be good for me.
Yeah, do you think that the pastor was doing X's and O's research or looking into their backgrounds?
I don't know.
Probably looking into their backgrounds, where they come from, where are their families, what city were they born in, mom and dad, siblings, things of that nature. That's what I would assume a pastor would be looking into. That's just an assumption, but that's a educated guess there. That's probably what a pastor's doing, not putting together a scouting report to play the Detroit Pistons. I doubt that the pastor's looking up the heat map for Jaden Ivey and what this team. Why this team can't defend a pick and roll.
Well, and that was another one of the classics. We know you're great at developing guys. Can you explain that? Dwayne Casey was great at developing guys too. We don't need development. We need winning basketball.
I mean, but at the end of the day, it's a roster made up of kids. These guys are just barely, just barely legal to drink in this country. Like, yeah, they're going to need to develop if they're going to win. Like, that's going to happen. But the two can't happen simultaneously. Just because you're going through a developmental stage doesn't mean that we can't see, at the end of the day, some wins and losses. I mean, Phoenix had a pretty young roster. What'd they have? Bridges, Ayton, Booker. Right? They had a pretty young group of guys. They only won, they were a sub-20 win team when he got there. And it seemed like those guys made some improvements. So, I think that's a positive. There's some positives go. I would have liked to have learned more about what he saw when he looks at this roster. Like, what do you see? I would be kind of a fan of that. What are some of the strengths and the weaknesses of this team when you guys had to play them? Maybe some things along that line. Coming into Detroit, what excites you the most about this, this roster, the way it's made up as of today? Make sure you throw that caveat in there because we have a draft. We've got trades that are going to be upcoming. I'm sure there's going to be some roster movement. So maybe some questions along those lines to maybe learn a little bit more about what he thinks about his current roster. But I don't know. We can talk more about it, though, tomorrow. We'll be back, same time, same place, right here on X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Hey, this is Matt Shepard from the Michigan Sports Network. I love summers in Michigan because it means golf season. Now, two things always when I go golfing. I make sure I got my sticks, and I've got plenty of cold, fresh Labatt Blue Light. Whether I've just squeezed in 18 holes or I just want to relax on the patio after a long day, everywhere I go, and I'm serious when I tell you this, I tell people about the smooth, genuine taste of Labatt Blue Light. It's just a great beer. Michigan Sports Network is giving you a chance to win a foursome to Michigan's best courses. Just listen weekdays to the Huge Show and X's and Bros, or just text golf to 21,000 to enter. That's golf to 21,000. The trip includes 2 overnight stays and 2 rounds of golf, all brought to you by my friends at Labatt Blue Light. So grab a Labatt Blue Light the next time you head out onto the course and enjoy the blue skies, because blue is for Michigan summers and great times. Always enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2023 Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York. All rights reserved. Labatt is a registered U.S. trademark of Labatt Brewing Company, LTD.